Well, at the last time we spoke, of course, you know, we hadn't got to this stage. Now INEC has released the personal details of all the contestants, and 16 parties will be contesting for that election. Is that a worrisome prospect?
Thank you once again, Okiori, and viewers at home. I've always told you that what is worth doing well, and it's a contest.
Yes.
However we want to see it, it's a contest, and it is a constitutional right of whoever is eligible to contest to throw in his hat into the ring and contest. So, and for me, I believe it's the more the merrier. The people have from a vast array of persons to choose from, and everybody will be going to the polls on the merit of, well, their antecedents, their capacity to deliver, and the promises that they have or they will be making to the people. It's a very interesting process, and something that I believe every other person in the country is looking forward to. I have my own personal choice, and of course, beyond my choice, we also have feelers of what the people's choice is at this material time. So that it's not for me to decide. At the end of the day, like they would say, the people will decide, the ballot will decide who takes up Anambra in the next 4 years.
Now, I think now that you've hosted the president, and when you look at the sentiments from both gentlemen, Governor Soludo, who was the host, and indeed the president itself, how is this seen? What is the political significance of this? Yeah, really.
Okay, well, the president's visit happens to be, the first after so many years, to the state. It was a state visit. He was invited, to come commission some very groundbreaking and historic projects, executed by the current administration of Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. And for us, it bears multidimensional significance, from either the historical point of view, or maybe the ideological point of view, or maybe the strategic point of view. But across this three spectrum of significance, I believe it recorded over 100% success and rate. And for us as a party, we are happy that particular visit has announced unequivocally, what we've been saying, long before now, that the progressives are working together. And we are very happy that Mr. President came and affirmed to the very groundbreaking achievements of the government in Anambra State, and we are proud of that. We are also happy that it was rancor-free. It came, and the Anambra, in their numbers, trooped out en masse, to welcome the president. This puts to rest a whole lot of, arguments and conversations about whether Anambra is at the center or not going to the center. It puts to rest those kinds of arguments, because the president, by that very move, has proven to Nigerians that he is the president of Nigeria, and of course he is a lover of good governance. And that visit for us will continue to resonate beyond even now. It's beyond the politics. For me as a person, it's beyond the politics. It's about recognizing that our diversity should be a source of prosperity and not adversity in any way. So it further accentuates the fact that Nigeria, irrespective of our diversity, we can find a common ground to actually work together for the good of the people. And wherever that is the case, you would see ABGA there. And I'm happy to also announce here again that the progressives are truly and indeed working together.
Indeed. And, actually, some interpretations, some people, the way they interpreted it was that Governor Soludo had actually endorsed the president. But then we spoke about this aspect the last time we spoke, that, look, Anambra, wanting to be centrist, was always going to identify with progressives. So did you see anything untoward in that? Because some people have actually been talking about it.
Well, what Governor Soludo said on that, on the day of that state visit was quite clear. And of course, it's he didn't say anything that is new, really, with regards to this centrist, stance. Everybody who knows Esoludo understands, his ideology in terms of the Nigerian polity he's not one that you can be amiss about. It's something that is very clear and straight to the point. He's a federalist. He said that day, and he's a centrist. But beyond that, there is a policy within the party, ABGA, that makes the party or encourages the party to always work with the party at the center. And we actually have done this in the past, and the records are there. We have done this with parties that you may define as not being, progressives. And now that we have a progressive party, we are bold to say that that policy has not changed, and that was exactly what Mr. Governor said on that day. And there's anyone who is arguing that is only maybe trying to be deviously political, because ABGA has never hidden the fact that it must align, or it has to align with the party at the center, especially where the core ideological cleavages or the core ideological stance of that party aligns with the ideology of ABGA. And we have said that in ABGA we believe in progressivism. And by that we mean that the welfare of the people comes paramount. They become, they are very paramount in any of our political decisions or any, consideration we want to make with regards to our governance style, our manifesto and all that. The people must come first. And that is why in ensuring the welfare of the people, we take certain, pillars of development quite seriously, from education to health to infrastructure, to the day-to-day economics of the communities and society, very seriously. And that is why in a state like Anambra, for instance, we have actually come up with very significant policies with regards to education. I mentioned it here when I came earlier that in Anambra today, the people enjoy free and qualitative education. And I emphasize that word free, and we mean free, totally free and qualitative education. I said that the last time I was here. I mentioned the last time I was here also that in Anambra today, pregnant women do not pay a dime, to attend their antenatal session classes, and they don't pay a dime upon delivery in all public hospitals across the state. And I gave some data as to how many persons have enjoyed that benefit and how it has significantly affected, our mortality, maternal health in the period under review. And are you surprised that today in Nigeria, Anambra happens to be the #1 state when it has to do with primary healthcare development, and #1 also in the entire Southeast? So these are part of the very progressive policies that affect the welfare of the people that we as a party do not take, for granted. So, and if you extend it to, to probably what we are doing in regards to infrastructure, Mr. President came himself, and we didn't even invite him to come commission the number of roads that Mr. Governor has flagged off and completed in the state. Last time I came here, I was mentioning about 754 kilometers. As of today, it's over 800 kilometers, with about 600 kilometers completed and awaiting commissioning. No, we didn't want to bother Mr. President with such projects that maybe become taken for granted in some quarters. But the main significance of that visit was for him to come, see the beginning of a new Anambra. Because when Mr. Governor talks about Anambra being a destination rather than a departure lounge, you look at today, he has built and commissioned, and the president has commissioned the largest international standard leisure, park in West Africa. And that tells you that people can now come into Anambra and not just live in Anambra and go out there maybe for leisure and for enjoyment and all that. Anambra is now a place where you can actually do business, commerce can thrive, people can live, people can learn, and people can also enjoy, relax, and feel like humans. Now, many people didn't believe it when we said that in the last 34 years, Anambra's government seat has existed in a makeshift environment. As a matter of fact, the construction yard of the company that built the Enugu-Onitsha Express, for over 34 years without the government, since the inception of the state. But today, we have a 28-hectare, eco-friendly, smart government mini city, where you have over 56 buildings, housed in that facility. So we invited, like Mr. Governor said, we invited the man who tamed the Atlantic in Lagos to come, meet the man who has broken the jinx, that 4-year-old jinx of Anambra existing without a befitting governor's lodge and a government house. So that for us is the core of, giving the people a sense of who they are. And there was no better way to celebrate it than inviting the totality of the country to come say, see, we have won this, we have achieved this, and it is worth celebrating. So I agree with Mr. President when he said, indeed, that Anambra is on the rise. And we believe that Anambra is on the rise. Anybody who comes to Anambra today would see that there's a clear point of departure from what existed and what is currently on ground. And that is what ABGA is proud of. And we believe that these changes don't come easy, just as we have them happening currently in the country. You can't, how do they say that if you want to eat omelets, then you must be ready to break eggs. And that is where we actually align with some of the very radical policy, changes of the, renewed hope administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because we know that these changes must actually occur if indeed we want to make headway as a country. Is it the floating of the dollar, or is it the removal of the fuel subsidy, and even the tax reform bill that is still in the pipeline? These are some very radical but important, decisions that we must make as a country if we really want to come out of our economic, doldrums. And that is what we represent as ABGA. We believe that the people must come first, but in putting the people first, you must also ensure that their welfare is not jeopardized.